Alright, so, in our last adventure, the posse had been recruited by a man by the name of Jack of Spades to hunt down some buried Injun treasure. However, when the party did locate that treasure, he backstabbed him, double-crossed them, drugged them, and left them for dead while taking all the treasure for himself. The posse thus out for revenge and vengeance and treasure. Lest we forget, treasure is at stake here. The posse headed back into Dodge City, wherein they were involved in an altercation that landed them all in jail. While they were in jail, Rattler, an old contact of Sam. You see, Sam is a U.S. Marshal. I mean, she's a Marshal of the United States instead of the Confederate States or the no man's land territory that Dodge City was located within. One of her Union contacts, a man by the name of Rattler, turns out to be a spook. It is to say, he does them spy game things for the Union, and he hired the party with promises of payment of information about Jack of Spades to go and investigate a Confederate secret laboratory down underneath the ranch just outside of town, owned by a man who goes by the name of Salt Lake Sam. Now, Salt Lake Sam was a mean motherfucker, and he had his hands in a lot of the crime pies, and he was a big player in the underground of Dodge City. By the end of this adventure, I assure you everybody had picked up at least one insanity. Everybody had probably almost died twice, been electrocuted 3 or 4 times, and fallen unconscious. And Sam had puked in her power armor, as well as being shrunk tiny to the size of a little itty rat. They did escape, though, barely. Not before witnessing Cthulhu himself in some strange edition of the hunting grounds, and almost dying on their way in, on their way through, and on their way out. In a big climactic moment, they literally burned the ranch down, and then it exploded under the earth. And it was really uncomfortable for all involved, I think. They also did, at some point, encounter what I have come to dub the Terminator. That is to say, they shot a Mexican in the face, and they found out that he had robot bits underneath, and that was not comfortable for anybody involved. They did, however, return to Dodge City, wherein they reported their findings to Rattler, and Rattler brought in none other than Abe Lincoln himself, who should be dead, and for all we can tell, he is a ghost. For he was able to walk through walls. However, Finn, our Doubting Thomas, did not find himself witness to any of that, and just believes that he was talking to somebody who very greatly resembled Abraham Lincoln. And I want it noted, Abraham Lincoln did not tell a lie the entire time that he was playing Finn like a fiddle.
Probably has a brother, after all, that I don't know about.
Remember, he doesn't tell a lie. That doesn't mean he has to correct you if you're wrong. Now, from there, Sam, who had been unshrunk from the size of a tiny rat, and Matthias convinced Finn that there had been some chemicals afoot in that facility that they had just destroyed, and that the Lord Jesus would protect Finn from sinking deeper into madness, since Finn was clearly sinking into madness, since only a madman could see what he saw in that laboratory, and that is just about where we left off. Oh yeah, there was the duel, wasn't there? There was the duel. Where
small matter of the duel there, Marshall.
Small matter of the duel there, wherein it turned out that for once in her long and toughen it up life, Sam was temporarily renamed Worf. And she encountered something that she bit off a little bit more than she could chew, which is not an experience she's used to having.
Star Trek references.
So after having, I do not drink cream straight. I drink it with coffee. Wrong cup. So as I, that was close. So as Sam was starting to realize that maybe she just wasn't going to be winning here, Matthias saw the resolve crack on Sam's face, and Matthias interfered with the duel and almost blew Salt Lake Sam's head clean off. He then bolted because he was now wanted for murder. Finn made certain that Salt Lake Sam did not die. Meanwhile, Matthias was spreading rumors all around the underground that Sam had offed Salt Lake Sam. Sam then collected Salt Lake Sam's hand, his mechanical left hand, because she had lost her mechanical left hand to a machine inside the laboratory. She then went off on her own, and my 0 key seems to have disconnected. There we go. Man, it's just one of those days. She went off on her own to tinker and experiment, and started having a great number of exciting ideas about improvements she could make to her steampunk arm. She also found a very strange-looking key inside the middle finger of Salt Lake Sam's hand. Now, the information that y'all have been given by Rattler is that there is a saloon by the name of the Vault. It's an underground saloon that not just any schmo can get into. You don't just saunter on down and expect to be let in. This is a place for the underground, the criminal element. And it's a pretty exclusive club. The catch is, y'all need a password to get in, because you gotta talk to a contact that Rattler has inside the vault. Now, he was unwilling to give you the information you needed to get inside, because things like passwords and so on are different from each person. Like, you know, there's multiple passwords, so they can tell who gave who the password to get in. So if you go in and cause a ruckus on a password given to you by Joe Schmo, they can come down on Joe Schmo's head, and that's how they keep the place nice and tight. Make certain you don't get any undesirables coming inside their vault. On top of that, you need some kind of key. I'm looking at you, Sam.
Well, I believe I've got the key.
The question is...
now, I just need to talk to Joe Schmo.
Now you just got to find a Joe Schmo and get the password out of him, and that might require that you prove to him that you ain't just that he gonna want to give it to you, especially after you just offed Salt Lake Sam. Unless you can maybe convince him you're not who you appear to be, or do something else. But you can tell that perhaps this might take a little more work than you had initially envisioned. But on the other side of this working, you lies somebody who knows a thing or two about Jack of Spades. And never wanted to let a man get away from her. Sam, what do you do?
Well, first things first. If I'm going to be running around the town schmoozing people, I should probably get a little cleaned up. So, I'm going to head down to... do I have a living space here in Dodge City? Maybe a hotel room that I would have put myself up in while I was out here doing some work?
Yeah.
Will that hotel maybe have an area where you could perhaps buy a drink or hang out a little bit, talk to people coming in and out of Dodge?
Indeed. There is a saloon. There is a saloon in Dodge City. And it goes by the name of the Rotund Bongos.
The Rotund Bongo.
The Rotund Bongo.
Does it really? Well then.
And
so I'll go and get myself. It
happens to have lodging, food, drink, and lots of strange characters every now and then coming through. So it is the place where you find yourself shacking up for the night.
All right. Once I am rested and feeling better, and I don't have so much gunpowder on my hands or face or nose, as the case may be.
Snorting gun. That's right. You determined that if you snorted gunpowder, you would make better devices, and you did.
And I will henceforth keep a small quantity of gunpowder on my person and occasionally snort it. You following my advice there, Marshall? Watch the magic. Here we go. Pour some of that rattlesnake juice in there.
Cheers.
Cheers. So once I get cleaned up, I'm going to come back downstairs and I'm going to look around the room and see if I can't see anybody that looks like they know things. Not like they're not visiting.
You're
like they're
looking
here
for
hanging
someone
out
who
at the
knows
hotel.
what stuff means? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Sure.
All right.
Yes.
It's an old gaming meme at my table. I have to tell you the story about I know what stuff means sometime.
About what stuff means.
Yep. Stuff has a very specific meaning, you see. And you might not know what stuff means if you don't know what stuff means. Now, so I would like you to roll me a scrutinize roll.
All right, just so you know, Marshall, I do have a cat eyes, which will give me a +4 to this roll.
Oh, you do, don't you? Is that
+4 to scrutinize and search?
Is that little secret that you keep tucked away? You hope nobody notices.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Maybe.
all right. So as you go ahead and roll. Go ahead and roll.
Scrutinize. I don't have that as a listed on my sheet here. That would be related to intelligence.
I'm sorry. You could also use search. You could use search. Scrutinize, I think, is on smarts.
Smarts. We will roll that then, and that will be a.
Right. It's gonna be a -4 because it's untrained. So you got a 5 at your highest, right? Now you said you had cat eyes. That gives you +4.
Yes, sir.
And that'll give you -4 because you're untrained. Okay. Scrutinize is the skill you use to read people and figure out if they're bluffing or what's going on in their heads or what kind of hombre you're dealing with. So as you step downstairs from the from the rooms up top, and you're looking around, and there's all kinds of folk just bending an elbow at the counter, or playing a game of poker off in the corner. There's a couple of boys sitting there with their drinks, having themselves a grand old time hanging out by the piano man. Your eyes kind of flash a little bit like a cat's eyes would in the night, right? They kind of like glow over, and maybe one of the cowpokes nearby like double takes at you, right? And then decides you look tough and he ain't gonna ask no questions, right? Goes back to his business and just pretends he didn't see nothing because he must be drunk. And you happen to find yourself a contact that you recognize, actually. Recognize. You recognize him as one of the boys that was there during the duel with Salt Lake Sam. And if there's one thing you've learned about Salt Lake Sam this whole time, is that there ain't no pie Salt Lake Sam did not have that key-holding finger in.
Perfect.
So if you're looking for an opening to talk to the underground, that may be your best bet. But before you do approach him and strike him up for conversation, Finn.
Yes, sir.
You have spent your time with the Sawbones making certain that Matthias does not go down for murder, much to Matthias' unknown chagrin, because he hasn't figured out that Matthias is that Salt Lake Sam is alive yet, and he's been kind of planning on Salt Lake Sam being dead this whole time. So what is it that you do next after that? There's a night or two that you can that Sam seems to need some time to herself to recover from the events of the day, and Matthias seems to have gone underground. So what are you doing during that time?
I'd say that I probably need a distraction. Probably a few games of poker.
Oh, dear Lord, bless your heart. So for those of you who do not know, Finn has an addiction to gambling. Finn also has the hindrance that he is terrible at gambling. So if you would do me a favor, Finn, and roll me your gambling, let's see
I
how.
don't have gambling.
All right, so that's going to be smarts, untrained, and I do believe that since you have a penalty to that from one of your hindrances, so it's going to be. I think it totals up to -6. So roll me untrained smarts at -6 and get the highest roll of a -2. Bravo. So whatever money it is that you just got paid, do me a favor and erase that from your sheet.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, you're gonna wind up a little bit more in debt than you were when you started. All right. We'll kind of let these gambling rolls, right? We'll just say, if you get a 0, you break even, right? If you're positive, maybe you make a little leeway on your debt. So you've got -2 debt points. We're gonna track this behind the scene. Write that down on your sheet. You got -2 debt. All right. And every time you go gambling, we'll change that score. And maybe one day you'll get real lucky, and maybe you'll actually come out of the hole. But until then, you now have that's -2, and those 2 points are currently in Dodge City. All right. we'll keep track. So if you go to a different city, you rack up debt. You'll rack up debt in that city as well. So now that you've got yourself a little bit more in debt, it's just bad luck. It's just bad luck. All right,
just bad luck.
It's just bad luck. I mean, maybe you weren't a little bit on top of your game right there because you were just coming off all those chemicals, right?
Yeah.
But all things considered, you could have done worse. You could have done worse. So no, you still got this. If it wasn't bad luck and chemicals, you would have been fine.
It could have been handled any worse.
Yeah, you don't know like $1,000 to nobody. Just just a couple bucks.
Yeah.
You're gonna need that couple bucks though.
Oh yeah.
Well, okay, so that's what you're gonna do. That's what that gambler will cover the next couple of days there. So Sam, as Finn
Yes,
is
sir.
Probably taking an ill-advised course of action, and he's
Losing all his damn money.
losing all his damn money in a game of poker. Boy needs to take some tips from Matthias. Matthias seems to be pretty good on the gambling front, which is
He
weird
does all right.
because he sees shit.
Cthulhu shit,
He
of all
sees-
things.
He sees some weird things, but apparently one of the things he sees is the heart of the cards. We don't know what's up with that.
The Shadow Realm. Time to
duel. So you're gonna walk up to this hombre. How do you
What?
present yourself? Why don't you tell me what your game plan is here? He's sitting there.
Here's what I do.
He's just bending an elbow at the counter.
I stroll on up to the bar and I talk to the barkeep and I say, "Hey, barkeep, pour me 2 shots of whiskey, will you?"
The barkeep, who's wearing a little badge, right? It's not a real badge. It's not like he's the sheriff or nothing. It's just it's a little. It's the bars. I'm gonna change it to the rotund bongo. It's gonna be the rotund recorder, because I like alliteration. All right, the rotund recorder.
All right.
All right. So the bartender at the rotund recorder is wearing it's a little circle, right, like a pin. And the pin says
Your ma.
No. The pin says hold on. It says I need a name, and I know what kind of name I need. So we're gonna go to.
He's like me when I'm trying to come up with names for spaceships on the fly. Moose hand.
All right, so the pin says Abigail. All right, and Abigail is a big boy, and Abigail will look across the countertop at you and say, "What? I'm sorry."
2 shots of whiskey, if you please.
Coming right up. So Abigail will pour you 2 shots of whiskey and slide it right across there, right? You find it probably in your best interest not to ask about why his name tag says Abigail.
I lay a coin on the counter, and I head on over to the hombre that I done seen before.
But I done seen
before.
So
I saw her first.
I thought I saw an hombre. All right.
And I will set one of the shots of whiskey down in front of him and the other one in front of me, and I will say, "I'll trade you if you got a cigarette."
He's gonna look at you. He was at the duel, right? Like, you saw him in the crowd. He's gonna look at you. He'll look at the whiskey. And then he'll look over at Abigail, and Abigail will just look at him and be like, "Hmm." So he'll take that, right? And he'll pass you a cigarette. By the way, take a white chip.
Thank you, Marshall.
You do have a hankering for cigarettes, so bringing that up is always a good idea. Finn, by the way, take a white chip for your gambling. If by the way, I do want to state it. If you play out something that you feel is one of your edges or hindrances, all right, I need you to tell me, because I can't keep track of all those things all the time, especially when I'm being the marshal and all that. So do take a chance to let me know that you think that you just played something off your sheet, and if I don't think it's worth the chip, I'll let you know why. We'll eventually come to an understanding on the topic. But certainly let me know. All right. I'll call it when I see it. But if you do it and I just breeze past it, let me know. All right. Now, he's gonna take that whiskey and he'll silently hold out a cigarette out of his little paper thing, right? Pulls it out. So it's we call it a wolfwood. All right. It's jargon from Trigon. See, this character in Trigon, Wolfwood, is a priest, and he's always smoking. Always smoking. The thing is, not once in the entire series of Trigon do you ever see him smoking a cigarette that is straight. It's always like bent or crumpled or folded somehow, right? So you get a Wolfwood. Because there's no such thing as a straight cigarette no more. All right.
I fucking love that show.
Whiz.
All right, Trigon's my favorite. He'll hand you a Wolfwood, and as a matter of fact, we'll call it Wolfwood brand. It's a good old Wolfwood brand, and they're known for having high quality tobacco. All right.
All right. So, you want a Yosemite Sam's posse? Yosemite. I keep saying Yosemite.
Yosemite. Hey, you know, she could just nickname him Yosemite. That's fine. Like, I ain't complaining. He'll
Actually, I'd like to rephrase.
Go ahead.
How long you been with Salt Lake?
He says, for about $50.
Been worth it?
He says, boys gotta eat, I guess.
About the same here.
Why, are you hiring?
I could be.
He says, well, I'm good with cattle.
I ain't got no cattle. But I do have a problem.
Shoot a feather off an Indian's head from 50 paces.
I have use for that.
All right. As long as you're shooting me money and ain't bullets, I can listen, I guess.
Well, I was wondering if maybe you could get me some information.
All right.
I'm looking for, shall we say, a particular phrase. Might be useful to get you into places that maybe you couldn't get into otherwise. You know what I mean?
Do me a favor and let me know what social skills you have.
I have absolutely zero social skills, but I will take a +4 to the voice.
Is that a +2?
It's a +2 for the voice, but I have an edge now to social roles because of Matthias's handiwork.
Oh yeah,
off
that's
with
right. 'Cause he
the
done,
journalists.
You know what I'm gonna say though is that because you were talking to a man who witnessed the actual events of the duel, right? Your reputation, which is based on a falsehood, I might add, probably won't apply, right? So we'll take the +2 total, and what I'm gonna ask you to do.
I do have overall now.
Oh yeah, okay. So I'm not gonna ask for the roll yet, all right? Because you haven't yet applied. You know, you haven't encountered an obstacle yet. You haven't applied a solution to the obstacle yet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say, let's see. You want him to tell you the password to the vault, all right? And he's gonna look you up and down, and he's gonna say, why in hell's name would I point a U.S. Marshal to the vault?
Maybe because your loyalties aren't so great to Salt Lake Sam.
He says, you got that. My loyalty's where the money lies. But there is one thing that comes before the money.
I'm listening.
My own hide. This is Salt Lake Sam doesn't own the vault. Salt Lake Sam doesn't run the vault. He's just a big name patron of the vault. The people who do run the vault, well, if I go flapping my mouth, then I ain't gonna have a mouth for very long.
Understood.
So, it would appear that he does not want to tell you shit, because he will die if he does. That sounds like an obstacle you might have to overcome in order to get the information out of this NPC. So what would you like to do?
What would it take for you to give me the information I seek? What can I promise you? I don't even know how much money I have, to be quite honest with you.
At the moment, not much.
Nope.
You started off being a bit broke, and you didn't get paid money for your work for Rattler. You got paid something more valuable.
Right.
But you ain't got much.
Being tiny.
You don't have much dinero. He says, well, anonymity might help.
In what sense? Anonymity for you? Or anonymity for me?
Anonymity for me. This is, good luck being anonymous after taking out Salt Lake.
Well, may I remind you, it was not me who took him out. That bastard would have had me stone cold in the street if that had gone on any longer.
He says, all right, tell you what. $10. And my name nowhere near this, and I'll put you in the direction you need to go.
Hombre, I don't even know your name.
Now, problem here is, Sam, is that you ain't got $10. So
Nope.
you're gonna have to pitch him something, either something worth $10 or just ask to have the fee waived.
Marshall,
He is
I do still have a couple of things from our descent into the abyss there. One of which is well, two of them. Two devices. The description was they've got ghost rock on them. They're made from parchment. They've got wires. They're about 3.5 inches long. How about I remove one of those from my pocket and lay it down on the counter?
Where did you loot those, by the way?
We got them one of the very first days that we were in the dungeon. There was a room that had the goop and the flashlights and all that. We got them from down there.
All right.
Does
And I
the
think
welcome mat have any suggestions?
The welcome mat does not have any subjections, no.
Suggestions. She is schizophrenic now, by the way.
She is. She did go slightly mad. And so he will look at the ghost rock, right? Now that ghost rock is worth a pretty penny. And he will nod and he says, hold on one second, the marshal needs to open the file where he kept the notes.
All right.
Shifty ass.
Shifty eyes.
And
Just GM things.
just GM things. Nope, this is not Shadowrun notes. This is Judas Steer notes. This is
So what happens when we get too many games going there, Marshall?
Yup. Alright, here we go. Alright, so he says, alright, so I'll be honest with you. As he takes the he takes the ghost rock, right? He says, I'll be honest with you, and he pockets it in his vest. He says, I don't know the password, but I do know somebody who does. You're looking for a boy by the name of Duncan Stubtoe. I don't think that's his real name. But
I sure hope it ain't.
But he done got himself a reputation. And that reputation done got him access.
What's his reputation for?
Well, when the big boys need somebody to be reminded that they owe money, Duncan Stubtoe is the guy they go to. He's a debt collector.
When you say the big boys, to whom are you referring?
He says, suppose that would shift every couple of days in Dodge now, wouldn't it? Sometimes it's the Union, sometimes it's the Fed, sometimes it's the Italians, or the Indians, or Furners. Always something going down in Dodge. That's why I'm here.
Sounds like it's pretty simple to remain anonymous then, wouldn't you say?
He says, yeah, there's a reason you don't know my name.
I got my own reasons for being in Dodge. Well, I appreciate the information, such as it was. And I do appreciate the cigarette.
This is anytime. He says you could probably find Duncan. He likes to hang out at the south end of town, the South Gate. It's where people go looking when they need work.
I'm familiar.
Can't miss him.
He's a big fella, isn't he?
Just go looking for special feet.
Special feet.
And he will tip his hat.
Thank you.
And then, Finn, at just about this point, you are so certain that you've got this guy right. You got this guy right by the balls. It's just you and him, right? And you're looking down at your cards, and you have yourself. You got yourself a flush, right? You are good to go. You are so good to go. You got yourself a flush, and you are gonna fucking. And it's time to drop your cards right on the table, right? And everybody, and he looks at you. He goes all in. And you look at him, now you got a flush. You're going all in on this, baby. And then you slap those cards down, and not only does he have a flush, his flush is just a couple spots higher than yours is. Right? Damn it. And everybody goes, oh! Right? And it's a big tense moment, and the water just breaks everywhere. And you're shit out of luck, because you ain't got no money, and you were playing on borrowed coin to begin with. And at that point, this guy who's been talking to the bar with Sam steps up and says, maybe you should take a hike. I want to play.
Alright, I'm gonna head over to Sam.
Alright, so you step out of your chair and you walk away from the table, and he'll sit down, and they're all laughing about how they made a pretty penny today, except for the one guy that loaned you money. He doesn't seem too pleased with himself. Or you. So Finn approaches you, Sam.
You win?
No.
I find this hilarious. I take my shot of whiskey. We gotta go to the South Gate.
Alright.
No questions. I like it. And I will slip off the bar stool and head for the door.
As long as I'm not seeing anything unnatural.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Maybe I should take another look around this bar to see if my conversation with yon hombre was noticed.
What do you mean noticed? Oh, to see if anybody saw you talking to him?
Yeah.
Nobody seems to have drawn any special attention to it. People are talking to him as he's playing poker, though.
Alright. Let's head on out.
Do note, your character is unaware that she is seeing things that ain't real.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, okay.
I wasn't referring to the.
Oh, what were you asking? Oh, just to cover your tracks to make sure. Okay, yeah.
To see if anybody is sitting in the corner polishing a pistol, watching me talk to the hombre. You know.
So I've been GMing for Matthias for a long time, right? It was just a Deadlands version of that character. He sees shit in every game, and every time somebody else picks up an insanity, right, they start like trying to verify if it was real or not. And so it just went right over my head. It was so normal for somebody else to go insane in a Matthias game and then start like verifying, can somebody else see what I'm seeing right now in like everything they go into? My bad.
That honestly didn't even occur to me.
My bad. That's cool. So what is the time now? All right, we still got a little bit. So, as you guys are headed across to headed across town, you're looking for the South Gate, and South Gate is not the best part of town, and you can start to see why Duncan hangs out here. Stubtoe has a taste for the areas of town where Well, a man can find himself a good time for the right price. In all forms. There are real cheap swill selling bars. There's folks sitting in the corner that are just open enough to your attention without wanting to be drawing your attention that you get the idea they're selling something that might not be legal. And there are a lot of girls down this way, and most of them are being a little too friendly. And just down near the south gate, you will eventually find two men sitting there talking. Both of them wearing big black hats. One of them is wearing a vest that's just a little too small because he is a slightly large person. All right, and he's got himself two 6-shooters, one on each hip. And he's wearing some jeans and a bit of a dirty face, and he's got a scar. He's got a scar right across his from his forehead to his face that looks like maybe he was on the wrong end of some kind of knife at some point, right? And it goes right through his eye. And notably, the most important feature of this fella here is that one of his boots, is like cut off right in half, like this, and there's just like a pointed metal bit, right, like that completes the foot, and it's more like, it's the shape of a boot, but maybe it curves up a little bit. You get the idea that you do not want to be kicked by this fella, and perhaps you may have identified Stub-Toe Duncan. The boy that he's talking to can't be any older than 19, 20, just old enough to be to have been a man long enough to know better, right? And they are having a hushed conversation, and as you roll up, that conversation stops, and Duncan will just give that boy in the black hat a nod and waves him away. Boy scuttles off, and then Duncan will turn and he'll look at you. He'll look at you, he'll look at Finn, he says, "Ladies, how can I help you?"
Sam, I believe you have this information.
You Duncan Stub-Toe?
He looks down, sees his foot, says, "Nope."
That's what I thought. I got a proposition for you.
He says, "I'm all ears."
How about a little game of target practice? If I beat you, you give me the information I want.
He says, "Where are you from?"
Around.
Is that how they do business around? Get out of here.
Has Sam told me about what's going, or what you're wanting to do?
I feel I would have mentioned it along the way.
Okay. You have a little bit of information we want. We want to know a certain password to a certain saloon.
He says, "Oh, you're wannabes to the vault then."
Yeah.
He says, "Well, I suppose I can't blame you for wanting to get it out of me through some kind of game. Because that ain't the kind of information money can buy. Now is it?"
I don't think so. Yeah. That sounds about right.
He looks Finn up and down, he says, and then he looks Sam up and down, he says, "Why should I tell you that?"
Because, well, we blew up Salt Lake Sam's ranch.
"Oh, that was you." And like his entire demeanor just immediately changes, like, making headway for the rest of us.
Oh, yeah.
In it for the common man's good. I like that in a person. All right. I'm all ears. He looks the same. He says, he looks the same. He says, all right, so, looking to fill a vacuum. Okay. If what you say is true, and believe me, if it is not, I will find you.
I'm sure you will.
If what we say is true, did you not see the cloud of smoke?
He says, I did. I didn't see you. But I'll give you the benefit of a doubt. As far as that goes, you are who you say you are, or you're smart enough to pretend you are who you ain't. Either way, you're off on the right foot. He says, but I ain't just gonna pass off that password to nobody.
Alright.
Instead, you do
I don't
something for
blame
me, I do something for you.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
He says, I'm owed money by a particular individual. Either I get that money, or they pay me in the form of being a reminder to everybody that I should get my money back.
Alright.
Now, I just seem to have had something come up, but this is a previous engagement I have. And something else very important has just come up for me to deal with. So you have approached me at an opportune time, and, as such, if you can do this for me, then I will know you are the sorts who deserve to have this password. And if you do not do this for me, then I will know that I was right not to give it to you in the first place.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
But you should know, I don't rough up women and I don't rough up kids.
Well, if you gotta rough up a woman or rough up a kid, that'll be your problem now, won't it?
I suppose I may have to go barking up another tree for the information I'm seeking.
Who's the target?
Says, folks that owe me money go by the name of Tim. And he'll jot down the address. He says, he'll slide it across the, there's no table, he'll just hold it out to Finn, right?
How old is he?
He says, I think I've told you enough.
Isn't Tim the kid that we met on the first episode?
You never got the name of the kid in the first episode. He says, you know where to find me. Now, if you excuse me, I have a newly arisen business arrangement to attend to. And he will, he'll do like that, like it's almost a limp, like he's had this injury for a long time and he's learned how to not walk with a limp, but it's just still there, and there is the slight clank, clank, clank as Stub-Toe Duncan walks away.
All right, Sam. Let's check this out. If you're not comfortable with what comes up, I don't blame you
Well,
for not wanting to rough them up.
There's always ways to get around roughing people up.
All right.
It's at least worth checking out.
Jesus help me.
All right, now that is top of the hour.
Woohoo!